everybody, welcome back. It's another week and it's another wine for the wine challenge. So this week we're looking at Les Argelieres Cabernet Franc. So it's a medium bodied French wine. So it comes from the Languedoc-Roussillon area of the Pays d'Oc region in France. And I don't actually think I've ever had a Cabernet Franc before, so I can't really go too in depth into, any knowledge that I have about it. But one thing I did find quite interesting when I was looking it up is I found out that Cabernet Franc is actually a parent grape to a lot of other well-known grape varieties. So Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc became the parent grape varieties for Cabernet Sauvignon. And Cabernet Franc is actually also one of the parents of Merlot as a grape variety too. So yeah, I found that quite interesting. It's been sort of the parent for a few quite well-known grape varieties and grape varieties I like. So I'll be interested to try it. So it's served at room temperature, so I've had no need to chill it, but I did actually already open my bottle, as you can see. If it's possible, you open it maybe half an hour before serving, just gives it a little bit of time to breathe. But to be honest, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. It's not like a really, really full-bodied, heavy red, which would desperately need decanting or an hour or so open to kind of breathe before you drink. When you do open the bottle, however, you may notice that the cork in this is synthetic, so it's a bit more like plasticky. It's not actual cork. The reason for this is simple. It's cheaper, but the main reason why a lot of winemakers have turned to using synthetic corks is because it helps prevent cork taint, which is a problem or a fault that can sometimes arise through using normal cork. So it keeps your wine and protects it and makes sure that you are less likely to get any kind of fault in there. For me personally, I prefer a normal cork just because the sound that you get when you yank it out of the bottle is a little bit more satisfying. But, if it makes the wine taste better, fine by me. So let's go through our 5 S's, pour myself a measure and get this tasting on the road. I'm doing this left-handed, I don't know why. Slightly larger than a tasting portion, but who's counting? So S number 1, we've got C. Now from looking at it, it's quite a deep colour, but it's not completely opaque. Really nice ruby colour to it. And again, I'm going to do that thing where I tilt it to one side and you can sort of see the colour variation between the two. It is maybe a little deeper than I gave it credit for. Really beautiful colour. It's a deep ruby red. S number 2, we're going to give it a little sniff. So I'm going to start without swirling it. It smells quite light, quite fruity. I can get kind of more red fruits than dark fruits from it, which to me kind of always signifies a lighter bodied red in my mind. So sniff number 1, I'm getting more, I think, red fruits. It's maybe more along the line of like red berries, maybe a little bit like raspberry-ish. I think that's what I'm getting anyway. I'll probably get more after we've done S number 3. So S number 3, let's give it a swirl. Oh, Jesus, try not to spill it out the glass. I feel like my swirling skills are actually getting worse the more these weeks go on. See, after the swirl, I found I'm getting like a little bit of almost like a pepperiness, a really light spiciness to it. Not much. I'm still predominantly getting that kind of red berry smell. It smells good though, it smells really nice. And last but not least, the favourite S, sip. Cheers. So sip number 1, kind of coating my taste buds, but already I can tell it's not a heavy wine. It's not particularly acidic. I've got a little bit of tannin, but again, not particularly strong. They're quite smooth tannins. Definitely red berries. I don't feel like it's deep enough for kind of black fruits. I'm definitely getting more red berry coming through, and yeah, when it comes to the spice, it's very mild, similar to what I could kind of smell what was on the nose for it. Almost like someone seasoned it, like a little bit like crack of like black pepper or something. Nothing like spicy, but seasoned, if that makes any sense whatsoever. All in all, really quite pleasant. It's not got a kick, it's not got loads of like body or volume to it, it's not got really high tannins, it's not offensive in any way at all. It's smooth enough to be able to drink on its own. It doesn't necessarily need the backup of some food to make it really quaffable. But yeah, I mean, that's what I can get from it. So let's have a little look, see what the computer says. So for this wine in particular, it says, I love the way wine people talk about wine. It's so funny. This is an enticing Cabernet Franc displaying a delightful, softly spiced bouquet of black currant and green pepper. Okay, I didn't get black currant or green pepper from that. The black currant, I can understand that a little bit. I don't think I got any green pepper from it. I don't know whether that's just my taste buds. Let me know if you can taste, any green pepper in there. The ripe, full-flavoured palate is smooth, medium-bodied and fruity, showing lots of red berry fruit backed by subtle pepper. Well, I definitely got the second half of that. That subtle pepper, again, it's got a little spice to it, but it's not really spice. And red berries, definitely. There's so much red berry coming through there. It's lovely. All in all, I think a really nice wine, the kind of wine that's soft enough to be able to enjoy on its own. It's still got that little bit of body to it. It's got that medium body. It's not particularly harsh or tannic. It doesn't really need pairing with food. However, it's incredibly versatile when it comes to pairing it with food, as I discovered looking up what you could do for it. And that'll be because it's kind of in that midsection, it's kind of that in between. When I was having a little read up, there were loads of different suggestions, but things like your roast meats and sausages and kind of more hearty dishes kind of work really, really well with it. So something like a roast or a stew, beef roast would be lovely. But I've actually gone for some sausages because they were quick and easy and I had them in the fridge already. But the cheese that we've actually decided would work particularly well with it is one that we've not tried yet. So it's the Red Crunch, which is essentially a really, really good red Leicester. So, I mean, this wine would work particularly well with any kind of hard cheese, but this one in particular is the one that we've chosen for today. I've not actually tried the Red Crunch before, so I'm quite excited. God, I just made a right pig's ear of trying to get that out of the wrapping. But I've done it. So I'm going to cut myself a nice little slice. I can already tell with how much that's sticking together, how creamy this is going to be. So let's give it a whirl. Cheers. This cheese is really good. It's got the kind of nuttiness that you sometimes get with a good red Leicester, but it's super creamy. For those of you that tried the mature cheddar back when we were tasting the Cabernet Sauvignon, you'll know what I mean when I say how creamy and how rich their cheeses are. They're so good. And it's a really nice combination because, again, this isn't overpowering. It's not a really sort of punchy cheese. It's creamy, it's nutty, it's smooth. And then you've got this kind of red berry, sort of smooth tannin and everything, just complementing it really well. It's a really nice combination. I'm going to do that again. Now I'm just going to quickly give my other food pairing a bit of a go. So I've gone for some chipolatas. Happen to be the sausages that I had in my fridge. But any kind of roast meat, anything quite hearty, any kind of sausages that you may have in should work really well with this. Let's give it a try. I mean, meat and red wine, it's a bit of a winner of a combination anyway, isn't it? And you get that little saltiness coming through from the sausage, the meatiness, the roundness of that meat, put through with some really smooth tannins and red berries. You know, it is just a really pleasant combination. It's an easy drinking wine. It's not as light as you get with, say, the Pinot Noir that we tried. It's got a bit more weightiness to it. It's got a little bit more body, but it's still really smooth. It's not something that you need to pair with food, but it does work really well. It's just good. It is just good. It's a red wine that's really agreeable, and if you had some red wine drinkers and you didn't necessarily know what kind of red wine they'd like, it would be a good middle ground to kind of cover everybody. It's something that I think all red wine drinkers would like to drink. But that's just my thought, you know. Let me know if you feel the same. Try pairing it with some food, you know, if you've got anything in the house, any cold meats, anything that you're having maybe throughout the week, see how that blends with it. As ever, comment, send us messages, photos, videos, everything back. We love to hear your thoughts. And next week we're going to be trying a Gewürztraminer, which sounds German but isn't German. It's from France. so I'll explain a bit more about that next week. It's got some rather unusual pairings, so should be quite an interesting one to try. But until then, have a great week, stay safe, enjoy your bottle, and as they'd say in France, santé.